Early on when I was playing Horizon Forbidden West, I had an absolute moment climbing my first ever tall neck. The sun was going down in the game and I had to solve a puzzle to climb a radio station in order to jump onto the tall neck using my glider. As I was doing so, the stars came out in the sky, and it was a moment of sheer awe and wonder that I haven't experienced for a long time in a video game. Not since a game like Okami have I seen the combination of art, environmental messaging, and gameplay come off so successfully as in Horizon Forbidden West. It made me also stop and think. There was so much love, craft, and care put into what was essentially climbing a tower to open up the world. If this much effort was put into one small thing in the game, then how much more effort was put into every other element in this beautiful game? I've had a lot of thoughts for a long time on how big an open world game should be. And for me, an open world game should only be as big as you can fill it with meaningful quests. Well, Horizon Forbidden West does that and more. The reason I can't give a full review of the game right now is because it will take me hours to complete the game the way I want it to. And that is meticulously going through every side quest, every errand. I want to complete everything in this game. And much like its predecessor, Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West is a game that is expanded greatly by the addition of the side quests and errands. These are not meaningless fetch quests. They all bring significant characters and storylines and world building to the main story of Horizon Forbidden West. What I can do though is wholeheartedly recommend it to you right now. It wasn't very long that I had been playing Horizon Forbidden West when I thought this is what the PlayStation 5 is made for. Horizon Forbidden West is as much about the art of the game as the gameplay itself, and all of these elements work together to create a beautiful storyline with Aloy. I'll get into that in a second, but I really appreciate if you support my channel by hitting that subscribe button. I'm Kat Clay, a writer, and I really want to dig into the beautiful Horizon Forbidden West. So if you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, I thoroughly recommend playing that game first. Not only will you see how much of an upgrade this game is to the previous game, but it also allows you to further understand the relationships that Aloy, the main character, built in that first game. Although there's a recap of the events of the first game at the start of Horizon Forbidden West, it is so worth understanding those relationships and those side characters because they'll come into play in this game, and that's something that really excited me, seeing some old friends make a reappearance in Forbidden West. So I'm going to get into the storyline of Horizon Zero Dawn and a little bit of Forbidden West. I'm going to give you a mild spoiler alert. If you haven't played Zero Dawn, I'm going to talk about that game and what happened there because it's important to Aloy's journey in this game. If you don't want spoilers, just go right ahead and buy both games. They are incredible and this is well worth your money. So after defeating Hades and stopping the destruction of the city of Meridian, Aloy is tired. You can see it in how her face has aged in the few months since the last game from carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. But she can't rest. Gaia is unbalanced and a blight has, blighted the landscape. Something is wrong with Gaia, the software that was used to terraform Earth, and she must be restored. If this is starting to sound like the beginning of a Captain Planet episode, you might not be too far off the mark. But the Horizon series has always been a love letter to planet Earth and why we should save it. But in trying to save the world again, Aloy has pushed away all the friends that she made in the first game, and she's essentially ghosted them after the last battle, which leads to some interesting confrontations when she sees them again. Why haven't you called Aloy? I'd really like to talk to you. Why you would ghost the biggest puppy dog with a moustache errand, I do not know, but I have some feelings. Aloy's fierce independence is both her greatest strength and her greatest weakness in this game. Her worldview was absolutely shaken by the end of Horizon Zero Dawn. Everything she knew was turned on its head. So I'm glad that the writers have taken the impact of that and the impact of her upbringing as an outcast and followed on the progression of those feelings. Leaving behind Meridian and the Sun King's longing glances, Aloy must journey west, very far west, to help cure the land. If this is the furthest she's had to go to avoid going on the date with the Sun King, I'm all for that. Oh, and Silence is back causing mischief. And there are moments in this game where you will be shouting at the television because Silence has done it again. Coupled with this sense of wonder is the absolute love and friendship her companions bring. You want to save the world because you want to save the people in it. You become so devoted to the fate of your friends that Aloy's mission becomes your mission. It goes without saying, but the graphics are glorious. We've all been waiting for the day where the animation and cutscenes in a game will match up with the actual graphics of the gameplay. And Horizon Forbidden West is it. I felt like I was playing a Pixar movie on my television, except that I was interacting with it. It was just so magnificent. The color, the costumes, the art design is all absolutely spectacular, and it's one of the reasons alone that you're going to want to play this game. If you've played Horizon Zero Dawn, then the gameplay does start in a familiar place, but it very quickly builds on what was in the older game and expands that very significantly. There are new weapons, new upgrades, workshops, workbenches, new outfits. So most of Aloy's weaponry is obviously ranged. She's mostly an archer, but you have spears, you have shredders, you have the tripcaster, you have bombs. There's a huge variety here of things you can throw at enemies. But the other thing is she does have her spear, and with it comes upgraded moves. So you'll get a number of combos as you open up those skills on the skill tree. Play is also so much more dynamic. There is no more going back and forth between the menu and gameplay to make some more arrows mid-battle. You craft your arrows as you're running on the field. It's all done through the weapons wheel, and this makes for really dynamic gameplay because you're still having to dodge all the monsters while you're crafting to up your ammo. There's no more pause, craft, go back to the gameplay. And I absolutely love this update because it means the game is way more dynamic. The developers have also adjusted the more OP elements of the game, so there is no more laying a nest of traps and trips for your monsters to wander into while sitting back and shooting at them with tear blast arrows to bring them down in no time. Oh no, you will be limited as to how many traps you can place on the field at any one time, and also be warned, you can't run back through those traps because they will explode on you. Which leads me to another point. Elemental damage here is significantly increased, expanded, but also works both ways. So the monsters can actually deal significant amounts of elemental damage, and these elemental effects will affect you if they build up in the same way you try and get the elemental effects to build up on the monsters themselves. It's a more challenging experience, but it is so much better gameplay than the previous game. One of the biggest upgrades to Horizon Forbidden West over the previous game is climbing. You can climb almost anything, and climbing is a huge part of this gameplay because there are a lot of towers, cliffs, areas to access that you can't just ride to. While tower climbing can be tedious and repetitive in some games, here they've created puzzles out of the towers and the climbs. And a lot of them don't open up until you develop new skills. So it's not that you can go around the map and open up all the towers all at once. It progresses gradually as you progress the storyline. Swimming is another new feature of exploring the map, and there are some beautiful underwater worlds here. And while you can swim into caves, it opens up the underground of this map as well. It takes a while for you to get the skills to swim even deeper, so don't be frustrated if you can't do that early on in the game. The way the map opens up with new skills reminds me so much of playing Zelda Ocarina of Time back in the day. The other thing I have to mention is that in 22 hours of gameplay, I haven't found a significant bug. I had one instance where the triangle button wouldn't work for me talking to somebody, but I don't know whether that was just me not getting close enough to the person. And it is one of my critiques of the game is that sometimes interacting with people doesn't always come up immediately with the triangle, and you're kind of left trying to judge the distance there. But for me, to have a game with no bugs, I've played most of the major PlayStation 5 releases in the past year, and nothing has been this polished on day one release. I am so impressed with it. My frustrations with this game are so few. I had to really rack my brain to go, what is wrong with Horizon Forbidden West? It is such a beautiful game. The aforementioned triangle issue is probably my main bugbear with this game, and that was me trying really hard to find something wrong with it. The other thing is probably personal preference, but I found myself relying on older weapons that I was used to. So of course, sharpshooter tear blast arrows are the bomb in this game, and they were in Horizon Zero Dawn, and I find myself going back to them rather than experimenting with new weaponry. It's also hard to figure out what I should be upgrading and what I should be saving my resources for, because there are so many weapons that you get in this game. Climbing can also be a bit frustrating if you get stuck in an awkward place, literally between a rock and a hard place. And that's it. That is all I can think about in terms of improving this game. It is just so much fun to play, and I find myself going back and wanting to play it. In fact, I didn't really want to record this review because I just want to go and play Horizon Forbidden West right now. Wonder is hard to come by these days. We've been through a pandemic, we've faced illness, the loss of jobs, the loss of loved ones. Horizon Forbidden West feels like a panacea for these dark times. It's a game about hope and hope for the future, and also a lesson that we need to look after the earth that we have.